Hey guys, Israel Favela here with Clearview Realty. So I recently read into an article that I wanted to go over with you on, break it down and cross-reference this article towards what's going on here in El Paso. Now, this article is by the National Association of Realtors and it's titled Pending Home Sales Sag 1.2% in March. So I want to jump into it, like I mentioned, go over it and cross-reference with what's going on in El Paso. So let's jump right into this. So as you can see here, this article, like I mentioned before, it's by the National Association of Realtors, and it starts off by saying, pending home sales dropped in March, signifying 5 straight months that contract activity has declined, according to the National Association of Realtors, month over month. Only the Northeast saw an increase in contract signings, while the 3 other major cities, U.S. regions, experienced declines in transactions. All 4 regions reported decreases in a year-over-year contract activity. Now, let's take a look at this infographic so you all have an idea of what's going on here. So let's go over this infographic. So it says housing snapshot pending home sales for March of 2022. Now they're normalizing this for 2001. The year of 2001 is also equivalent to 100. So if you see 103.7 like it's showing here, it's 3.7 points better than it was in the year of 2001. Now it's showing here month over month that generally speaking in the United States, it's decreased about 1.2%, the pending home sales. And it breaks it up into regions. So the West is at 89.8, which it has decreased about 0.2 month over month. The Midwest is 94.7, and it's decreased the most at 6.1%. The Northeast is the only one that has increased month over month at 89.3, and it increased 4%. And the South, which is where El Paso's at, it's the most western tip. It's at 125.8, and it's decreased about 0.9%. Now, before we jump into that, let's define a certain term of pending home sales index. And basically, it is a leading indicator for the housing sector based on pending sales of existing homes. A sale is listed as pending when the contract has been signed, but the transaction has not closed, though the sale is usually finalized within 1 or 2 months of signing. Now, pending contracts are a good early indicator of upcoming sales. However, the amount of time between pending contracts and completed sales is not identical for all home sales. So we want to analyze these pending contracts so that we can see and project what's going to happen within the next month or 2. So now let's cross-reference of what's going on here in El Paso versus what they're saying is going on across the nation, where it's decreased about 1.2 across the nation for pending sales. So if you take a look at this graph here, we have the beginning part of what's going on in January. So we have 532 pending sales for January. Now, if we compare this to what's going on in 2021, we have seen a slight decrease. But if you go across in 2022, we're at 475. And 2019, we're also at 475. So we have seen a little bit of a dip from the previous year. Now, if we focus solely on January and February of March 2022, you notice that we do see a drop, and it's more significant than it was when in 2021, and especially in 2022 and 2019. You notice in 2019, from January to February, we actually see an increase. In 2022, we see an increase from January to February. And in 2021, we see a decrease. It's about 15 homes. But in 2022, we see the biggest decrease from January to February over the past 4 years. However, if you notice from February to March, we make a huge jump. And you can tell here in this graph, the green line here, we jump from 497 all the way to 694. So from March to April, now this is not an accurate number yet for April. We just finished closing up the month of April. A lot of times we still need some time for the system to be updated with the realtors to go ahead and inputting the sales for the month of April. However, we start seeing that we're still on this upward trend. We're not seeing anything that's decreased within this past year. The only decrease that we're seeing is from January to February, but we see a spike and increase in sales more than we have before from February to March and March to April. Really what they're analyzing in this article is what's happening from month to month. Now, this is the one that's really going to be the most comparable data points from what's going on in the article. So if we just solely focus on the green one, which is basically telling us what's going on from 2022, we notice that from January to February, as we were mentioning earlier, that it's a negative 6.6% decrease, right? 6.6 decrease from January to February. But from February to March, we see about a 40% increase in pending sales. And in April, we see about a 0.4 increase which kind of means it's pretty much stagnant at that point. And I'm curious to see what's going to happen from May all the way to the rest of the months for the rest of this year, because we do see that interest rates are having an impact on the nation on a national scale. A lot of times what's happening with El Paso is that we're lagging a little bit of what's happening with the rest of the nation, but it kind of prepares us to see what kind of decisions we can make based on the data of what's going on with the rest of the nation. Going back to the article, it goes on to say the following contract signings are implying that multiple offers will dissipate and be replaced by much calmer and normalized market conditions, says Lawrence Yun from NAR's chief economist. As it stands, the sudden large gains in mortgage rates have reduced the pool of eligible buyers, and that has consequently lowered buying activity. Now, traditionally, it's crazy because El Paso has been more of a neutral buyer's market pre-COVID, where sellers are more inclined to want to pay for the buyer's closing costs. There's so much inventory for the buyers to choose from, and we have been so different from the rest of the nation. Now, for us to go back to this point, it would be great for a lot of buyers, because at this point right now, buyers are willing to pay out of pocket above listing price, pay for the title policy, pay for their own closing costs. Now, it's crazy for me to even say that, because I know the rest of the nation hasn't experienced as much as we have, where the sellers are willing to pay for the closing costs. However, it'd be nice for us to go back to this conditions of the market, simply because it would be a lot better for both sides, right? Especially for the buyers, for them to be able to compete against homes and be able to get in the home themselves. It also goes on to say he forecasts inflation to average 8.2% in 2022, although it will start to moderate to 5.5 in the second half of this year. Now, just to kind of give you an idea of where the inflation rate has, traditionally been, it's been about 2% to 3%. So that's significantly higher. Now, it makes sense why the Feds increase the rates. That way they can combat the issue of inflation. Now, with them increasing the rates, it makes sense why they would drop it down to 5.5, hopefully a lot lower. It goes on to say, as of March 2022, higher mortgage rates and sustained price appreciation has led to year-over-year increase of 31% in mortgage payments. Now, let's cross-reference that with what's going on here in El Paso. So if you take a look at this table here, what I did is I got over the years of 2019 all the way through 2022, I got the rates during this time last year, which is around May. I got the median sales price for every year. I also got the percentage in which we're increasing, which we'll discuss in a bit. But the ones we're really looking at is the monthly payment and how much that has increased year over year. So if you take a look at from 2019 to 2022, it has increased from 1176 to 1251, which is about a 6.4 increase. From 2020 to 2021, it has increased 11%. Now, what the article is saying that the average monthly payments has increased about 31%. Here in El Paso, it has gone up from 1389 to 1853, which is a 33.4% increase, which is insane. Now, it makes sense because El Paso has a lot of wiggle room for us to increase our average sales price, because if you can see, in 2019, our median sales price was at 147, and us creeping up to 215 doesn't even put a dent compared to what major cities, their median sales price is, right? So we still have a lot of wiggle room. It goes on to say that home prices are in danger of decline on a nation basis, but the price gains will steadily decelerate, such that the median home price in 2022 will likely be up 8% from last year. Now, if we cross-reference that with what's going on here in El Paso, we'll see that the price increase has gone up significantly, as mentioned before. The price increase from 2019, which is at 147 median sales price, to 168 median sales price for 2020 is about 14.3 increase from year to year. From year to year for 2020 to 2021 has been 13.1%. And just based on what's happening from January to the month of May, it has increased from 2021 to 2022, 13.2%. But based on what Yun is saying in this article, he's projecting for the price increases to decelerate to 8%, as opposed to being above, in this case for us, 3%, which would put us at about a 205 median sales price for this year. The article also goes on to say, while costs have soared for existing and new homes, rental properties have seen monthly payments jump to a turn that Yun says will lead to more renters exploring ownership. Fast rising rents will encourage renters to consider buying a home, though higher mortgage rates will present challenges. Now, if we cross-reference the median rent, what's going on here in El Paso since 2019, we notice that the rent here was $1,150 in 2019. In 2020 it's $1,225. In 2021, $1,350, and in 2022 it's $1,400. And you can see that has a year-over-year growth, a positive year-over-year growth of 6.5% from 2019 to 2020. Then it goes up 10.2%, and then it goes up still 3.7%. And you can see that it has gone up significantly since 2019, right? For a $1,400 payment, for you to be able to purchase a home within that same monthly payment, it would be about $170,000, $175,000 home. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. So I wanted to give you guys an understanding of what's going on here in El Paso based on what the rest of the nation is doing. If you guys have any questions or any concerns or want to know more information about what's going on here in El Paso, feel free to comment down below or shoot me a message. But until then, I'll catch you guys in the next video. You guys have a good day. Bye.